The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip, and there's no audio.
I'm CJ.
There we go.
Hey, it's a new system today. We're trying to figure it out, and there's going to be some bugs today like you wouldn't believe.
If everything blows up, don't worry about it. We'll have it fixed by next year.
Hey, we got our tech guy in here, and he's over here making the notes.
That's right. He's taking notes. So far, so good. At least it looks good on the on our monitor in the studio. So
at least we're on the air, I hope.
I want to, we didn't have a Friday show because of Thanksgiving.
Nope.
And I hope everybody has recovered from their tryptophan trance and their couch comas, and we're ready to rock and roll. Another
day,
another and another week in the Rev.
Hey, it's always lots of fun, and I kind of went crazy on Friday because I had nothing to do.
Yeah, and then now I'm reading all this material. You got plenty to do now and plenty to talk about as usual.
But Chip, before we move on to this week's, the stuff for today, I need you to address your drug issue that you got cut off on Friday. So why don't we turn the camera over to you and let you handle that for a little bit, okay?
Well, this is going to be fairly quick, and I have another little quick issue I want to talk to at some point in the show. At the end of the show, and a couple of shows I've been talking about, I think this is an important issue for everybody out there, not only city employees, but all consumers in our area, and actually all consumers in the United States. Ironically, I'm glad it actually took a little while to get this thing on the air, because I believe it was Friday night or Saturday night that NBC Nightly News had a segment on Chinese shrimp, and they can only inspect 1% of Chinese shrimp, and they're using antibiotics, and they're injecting them with gel to make them look puffier and more full, and there's a lot of concern about that. Well, there's a lot of concern about medications from China, and justifiably so. They've put lead in their toys. Now they're injecting gel into shrimp. And the really, really troubling issue that came up and point that came up in that report was the FDA only has a chance to inspect 1% of the imported food from China, which means 99% goes uninspected. So something has to be done on a federal level. But now we move over to drugs. At last month's retirees meeting, a member got up and said basically that I want to bring up something. I got my prescription filled, and I peeled the label off. And when I peeled the label off, it said "Made in China." And I was a little disturbed about that because I wasn't told I was buying Chinese drugs. He said, so I called CBS Caremark. Well, we call it Careless, but because they do care less, because their CEO makes $32.8 million a year, and he doesn't care where. The cheaper they can operate, the more he can make. Maybe next year he'll get $38 million. But this individual called CVS Caremark, and he was supplied a list. And I'm reading from a letter that he gave City Councilor Mitchell, who was at the meeting, and then has gotten on board with this issue because we want to talk to the feds about this. and our state delegation. He said, I'm reading the letter, and I don't like to read a lot because we'll post some of this stuff on the website later but it says he was given a list at CVS Caremark for some of the companies they use. Aurobindo from India, Lupin from India, Westwood is a U.S. manufacturer, and I can't pronounce it, Xinjiang Huan, China. And then he actually did some research and gave me a Bloomberg study that was conducted, and it talked about these drug companies. This is why the FDA, the title of this is Bloomberg News, October 28, 2015. Why the FDA is worried about Chinese drugs in your medicine cabinet. And it talks about FDA inspectors showing up at a company asking for a memory stick that was pulled from a computer in the quality control lab, and the individual ran out of the place. Then it goes on to say, among those manufacturers, Hyson, one of the largest and key makers of components, from everything from cholesterol or cancer medications, basically they alter quality control records, they destroy quality control records. They had a shredder alongside of the computer that they log in the quality control, and the FDA refers to it as data integrity. Its manufacturer's data integrity is not good. And then they go on to say that there were 200 in 2008, they supplied a blood thinner, heparin. We all know what heparin is, right, CJ?
Oh, yeah, we know what heparin is.
Yeah, and the contaminated Chinese ingredients were linked to 246 deaths in the United States. You know, this is just, it's appalling. And not only are these drugs made in China in many cases, but you have drugs that say made in the USA that are using foreign ingredients. Actually, when I was discussing this at the Insurance Advisory Committee meeting, one of the people there from another union on the school side took her prescription bottle out of her purse, and she looked at it and she said, "Oh my God, why did you bring this up?" She said, "Now I'm all upset." I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I just read my pill bottle. It said, made in the USA, and then in fine print it said, with ingredients from other countries." So this is a very, very important thing. The United States, and you know, people may not like Donald Trump, but maybe, just maybe, this stuff is going to stop. Big companies, big pharma, big anything, they go to China, they get slave labor. Actually, NBC News was talking about some place that was actually using slave labor for manufacturing in this day and age. And they showed pictures of the people that were there. But, you know, they don't care. There's no oversight in China. They pollute they don't care about pollution. They're the major polluter on the planet. They don't care about putting lead in toys. Look, the way they figure it, they kill a few million people. It's just culling the herd over there. They got plenty of people over there. They got way too many people. And as Stephen Hawking said, we got too many people on the planet anyway. We're not going to last. There's got to be some kind of catastrophe because we don't have the resources to control the population that we have on Earth today. But the fact is, for your own good, look at your medication bottles. If they're made in China, whoever your prescription drug plan is, find out if there are drugs from American companies available. This individual did ultimately get a drug from an American company with American ingredients. Now, if they attempt to charge you more, that's another issue that has to be brought up. But I just wanted to bring this to light. This is a very, very important issue because guess what? They can kill you with this stuff. They can kill you.
And you know, Chip, the thing that really scares me is the fact that I started looking over a few people I know their medications. I think I found one that was made in America. One.
Yeah.
I saw Canada, I saw Mexico, I saw India, I saw China. I was like, I even found one in Spain. One in Spain.
Yeah, anywhere but here so they can make money.
Right, well, that's the thing. They charge us astronomical amounts of money for these drugs. Hundreds of dollars. Insulin, $300 a vial, insulin. And they're getting it made for pennies. And then they're making it even worse in third world countries in some cases at dirt cheap money.
Yeah.
Talk about shafting the American people.
Yeah.
So that big pharma and CV Careless and, so many other pharmaceutical companies, Walgreens, Walmart, Humana, you name them, they're all doing it because they're selling the drugs at the price they can get from the insurance companies and from the general populace, but they're paying the least amount of money they can for it. So they're selling you a drug for $300 a bottle, but they're paying $67.
If that's probably high. If that.
So,
yeah.
And it infuriates me because I've seen it for too long.
We need to get the federal government, so check your medications, write your congressman. We will be meeting with our congressional delegation and our state delegation to try to, the only way we can fix this is have government oversight. They cannot allow, it shows a total lack of sensitivity for the safety and health of the people of the United States of America when the FDA can say things like, these drugs are dangerous. The shrimp is dangerous, and we can only check 1% that's coming into the country. There's got to be some kind of legislation to make these companies accountable because if they're killing people and then nothing happens. They go, whoops,
Come
okay.
on. What are you trying to do? Come on, Chip. What are you trying to do?
So we got that out, so let's move on, okay?
Well, Black Friday was not as wonderful for the brick and mortar stores as they had wished. They had a 1% down in sales and in traffic. People are buying online. And, in Fall River, you got no place to shop anyways except for Walmart. And they were lined up out there at 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving, which really made me laugh. But, they're saying our economy's getting better. It's looking up. And I said, well, hopefully the trickle-down theory, and I said this in the Weekend Flush, hits Fall River. But, it doesn't seem to be that way. So, it's going to be interesting. I laughed at Marc Dion's column this weekend, which I thought was funny because, he pointed out that the unemployment rate in Fall River is 4.5%. So why are so many people poor? That's because we keep importing them. Come on, Mark, you know this.
That's because the people who are in who are on state aid are not on the unemployment rolls. They're not looking for a job. Yep. They got one, collecting their state paycheck.
But you know what's funny? In his 6th paragraph of his column, now that maybe half the city hates Jazel Correa, it's time for him to start running for a second term. My advice to Jazel is to get rid of the purple bags. Saying he'd dump a $10 trash fee got him in the first time, so purple bags ought to be good for another win. But remember, people, if he decides to dump the purple bags, which I am all for getting rid of, he's going against everything he always said. Yeah. Because from the day they put him in place, he says, I support the use of purple bags.
Yeah, but the money's been spent for those bags since its inception, and this is the reason they're always raising, and they will. But I've got to say something since this article is Jazel, because people, they continue to, a lot of people say that we pick on him. And
I know, we're terrible.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. The buck stops there, and when crap goes wrong, he's the guy that gets blamed. And when certain things when we make the hires. But on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I received a phone call from Mayor Jazel Correa. I was very surprised because it wasn't the number that I had in my bank. It was, and I answered, and he identified himself and said, I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. And I thanked him, and I wished him the same for his family. And then we got down to a little business. You know, he I guess, and I said I would bring it up on the show. He objected to, I guess, some of the characterizations made, or, you know, I guess we had, as you all know, we had Carlos Caesar here, and he made some allegations, and then at the end of Wednesday's show, I said, well, maybe the allegations of improprieties with the marijuana companies should be investigated, because we're getting a lot of feedback from the people of the city on that. And I told Jazel that, look, you know, we get people ask questions and want us to talk about certain things, and we'll bring them up, and if there are allegations, we'll say them. And I did say it was an allegation. The mayor told me that there's a very, very solid process to select those things, and I told him, if you send me a copy of that process, we will have it on the air. I also want to make it known, and I'll make it known publicly, that I told the mayor that if he wants to weigh in with his side of anything, he's always welcome to send us an email, text me during the show, or even come on the show. You know, it's not going to be a weekly appearance like on Radio Pravda, but you know, we tell you to investigate everything, including what we say and what other people allege. And we have absolutely no problem bringing someone on who feels that they have an opposing view, or that what the characterizations being made by other parties are not accurate. Welcome to come on and basically give your side of the story. You're always welcome. And the fact is that the only thing we're not going to get into on this show is one of these he said, she said, I said, she, where it becomes a soap opera, and every week one person's on. You come on, lay out your plan, prove your plan, tell the people where they can find out that what you're saying is accurate. When we're dealing with allegations and dealing with stuff like this, or even potential, investigations, well, then it's going to become a matter of who the public truly believes. But I want to just make that point very, very clear, that we don't have any problem allowing him to present his side of the story. I've invited him, and I'm going to say it publicly that he's welcome to come on anytime. As I said, there's nothing personal here. I get along very well with Jason. We had a very nice, very cordial conversation the night before Thanksgiving. He affirmed that he understood that it's nothing personal with us. We're going to differ, and that's just the way it is. If I feel you did something right, I'll give you credit. If I feel you did something wrong, we're gonna basically say it. And that's the way I've always been on every issue with every mayor. And that's the way it's going to continue. And that's what we do on our show. But, to think that we're only giving, one-sided coverage, we put out what we get in. If people are giving us, there's a lot of questions about things, or they're asking questions that they want us to ask or bring up to the public because there's a perception out there, we'll do it. But anybody who's on the other side of any of those perceptions is always welcome to come on our show and give his or her side of the story.
Oh, I don't like those open invitations.
But CJ, I know you don't have a problem with that. The thing is, but I said we're not going to get into this soap opera deal where they're on every other show and using it as a political vehicle or a vehicle for their own. You know, our position has always been, we put the information out. We always tell the people, follow the money, investigate everything, including us. Never take anybody's word for anything. Educate yourself as much as you can on every issue, and that's the bottom line. So, but
well,
I mean,
you know, it's interesting because when we put information out there, the one thing that we always make sure is that we have not one, not two, but 3 or more confirmations of the information we present. We're sitting on a lot of stuff that I can't get a second or third confirmation on, and we don't release it because we're not going to. And one of the big concerns that people have, and you can confirm or deny this, Chip, is that people have such a concern about being exposed that they want to keep their names out of the limelight, that they fold up letters and stick them on our windshields and put them in our email, you know, put them in the mailboxes and drop them off at our properties when we're not there. So the one thing that we always maintain is anonymity. Any emails that get sent to tips@scstonline.com are stripped. Anyone that calls into our tip line, their information will get stripped. We don't want to know who you are if you want to give us a tip. If you leave your name and phone number on a message or on a tip, that's fine. But we'll still protect that information. And if you have a true disgust for something we've presented, or you just want to contest it in any way, let us know. If you don't want to be on the show here, you want to send a video, send us a video. We'll air it unedited. We don't do that, okay? We'll read your statement. We've done it in the past. And if we're mistaken, we have retracted statements, not too often. I think maybe it's twice so far. But we do that. We're responsible for what we put out there. But with that time running out, I want to get on to this. Tomorrow, there'll be a public hearing at 5:30 in the City Council chambers at Government Center in regards to the Fall River housing challenges. Okay? For 9 months, a privately contracted housing study has been commissioned of Fall River.
by whom?
Well, according to the gentleman that just emailed me, as you notice I was responding to his email, Carol Fiola is the client.
But who did the study? I'm reading it right here.
The Center for Public Policy.
Wow, didn't we hear that? Like everything Eddie Lambert, and then in that article by Pravda,
Yep.
they said this is a nonpartisan, self-sufficient research center, which is absolute crap. It's a political vehicle. Eddie Lambert used the Center on Policy, Public Policy at the time. I think it was analysis at the time. They used it for every single thing he did.
Right.
If he decided to buy a different brand of toilet paper, he brought in the Department of Public Policy. And guess where he got a job when he stopped being mayor?
UMass. And
His
as a
first
matter of
stop,
fact, yep.
UMass.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, UMass Boston is the consultant for the Charter Commission, which is writing a charter which strips the rights of the Fall River residents and does not let you do anything.
So what does this
Because
study
Mike
say?
Mioza-
Provide more housing. We got
Yep.
too much housing now.
Exactly.
This is an absolute.
But here's the thing. One of the key statements was more affordable housing. Affordable equals low income.
Yeah, of course.
Why? Because we keep importing them. All right? Why don't they say this in Boston? Why don't they say this in Arlington? Why don't they say this in Cambridge?
Yeah, because and it also says to reposition the large existing stock of older units for complementary subsidized and non-subsidized. Nobody's going to get non-sub. Who's going to move into a place? Look what happened to Point Gloria.
Right.
This thing isn't worth the paper it's written. It's more political pablum to justify all their friends making millions of dollars building these units, getting state
Market rate
subsidized
housing.
rent, market housing. This is more crap again to spend more of your money.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, as we know, the City Council is currently answering a complaint for discrimination. At their last City Council meeting, they had to address a license renewal for a business which has been out of business for several years. It wasn't on the agenda. And a city councilor asked, well, it's not on the agenda. Can we actually do this? Well, this license is going to expire on December 11th, and we're not having a meeting. Well, see, here's where specificity comes in, and it bites you both ways.
Specificity.
They put in the agenda one license renewal, specifically. And then they put in a second one. Now, had it not been foreseen 48 hours in advance, they could have gotten away with it. But they made the mistake and said, oh, we already knew about this. So they violated 30A, which is now going to cost the city more money because they keep violating the law. But then again, when you start looking at it, look at what's going on in Seekonk. The council president is getting his backside handed to him by local 1931 of the IAFF.
And why don't you read the opening sentence of this
How
article?
much is the town of Seekonk willing to pay? Well, how much is the city of Fall River willing to pay?
Yeah, what's the first sentence? What does it say? To
How-
defend what?
To defend erratic and inconsistent decisions by town administrator Sean Kadeem.
Kind of sounds like the way he runs the council meetings.
Exactly.
Erratically and inconsistently.
Now, here's the
doesn't it?
kicker, though. He went out and hired. Who did he hire?
Who did he hire?
He hired former corporate counsel for the city of Fall River, Steve Torres.
Blast from the past.
Yeah.
Oldie but goodie.
Yeah, so-
another political hack that's resurrected again.
Exactly. Now, here's the funny part about it, okay? Not only do we have the political patronage jobs and the political whores and the political sycophants here in Fall River, we're now going to export them to Seekonk, Somerset with Mary Sahadi, Swansea. I mean, can this has become a disease.
Get a job for life. That's
Yeah.
what happens when you become a politician, in this country, but especially in Fall River. Get a job for life. And I like Leo Pelletier. He
Yeah.
is a funny guy.
Yep.
But Leo really encapsulated it the best when he didn't make the council. The first thing out of his mouth was, "I got to get myself another political job." And guess what? He did.
I think it was the day after the
Leo,
inauguration.
kudos to you.
Exactly.
Because here comes Tip Torres charging back onto the scene, getting his way into these cities and towns, and you wonder. I gotta say this. You wonder why these clowns lose about 95% of the grievances and unfair labor practices brought by unions. It's because they're only in it for the money. And they're taking your tax dollars to go in there. They're not experts in these fields where unions normally hire labor lawyers who really know what they're doing, and unions don't have money to waste on cases they can't win. And what happens? They come charging in on their steeds and say, "Give me more. I have my satchel open. Let me fill it with more of the taxpayers' money and lose again." And I hear in the background, "Dominion. Remember Dominion. Remember Dominion." Remember Kathy Ann saying, "Oh, we probably won't win this against the school department, but we're going to fight it anyway."
But here's the
Why?
kicker.
Because you're not paying.
Right. But here's the kicker in this fire department grievance. Seekonk already admitted it.
That's
They
right.
said we did it.
Yeah, and they're going to fight it.
And they're going to fight
They're
it.
going to fight it. The city admitted they were wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know, so it says that he hired Torres. Why doesn't the city call him in and say, "Listen, the town has already capitulated.
Right.
We know we're wrong. We're going to lose. We're not going to pay you, pal, more money to take I mean, obviously one of the first exhibits that the union's going to make is the city's acquiescence to the fact, it's not even acquiescence, they actually came out verbally and said it, that they were wrong. So, people, this is what they're doing with your money again. So, stay angry. The holidays are coming, and I'm really happy because somebody already got shot over a parking place. Because that's why. 'Tis the season to be hypocritical.
There you
Tell
go.
everybody have a great holiday, then shoot them over a parking place.
We'll see you Wednesday. Have a great day.